our second parent function, y equals the square root of x. Let us graph this one. I'll be needing a Cartesian plane and of course table of values. Notice that I do not have negative values for x. Why? Because when you place negative numbers inside the square root, the result will become imaginary. So we will only consider positive values of x as well as 0. Because when we substitute 0 here, is square root of 0 is still 0. So the point is 0, 0. It will be here. Now let us substitute 1 here. The square root of 1 is also 1. So we have 1, 1. The point is here. Now let us substitute 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So we have 4, 2 here. And when we substitute 9 here, the square root of 9 is 3. So 9 and then 3, it will be here. Now let us connect these points. Here is the graph of y equals square root of x. Now let us determine the domain of this graph. Since you do not see any graph on negative x values, it means the domain started from 0 to positive x values. X is greater than or equal to 0. Just like what I said earlier, we cannot substitute negative values here because the square root of negative number is imaginary. So all we have is from 0 to positive infinity. X that are greater than or equal to 0. Now, how about our range? Can you see a graph below 0? None. But from 0 going up, we have a graph. And since this will extend indefinitely going up and this will become wider and wider, it means there will be graph for all positive values of y. So our range is y greater than or equal to 0. Now let us determine our x-intercept. Our graph crosses the x-axis at 0, 0. For the y-intercept, our graph also crosses the y-axis at 0, 0. Now let us see the symmetry. Is this symmetrical with respect to the y-axis? Is there a graph similar to this on the left side? There is none. So this is not symmetrical with respect to the y-axis. How about, is it symmetric with respect to the origin? Meaning if we rotate our graph 180 degrees, it will still end up this way. Let us see that. So here is our graph. Let us rotate that 180 degrees. And no, it doesn't end up like the original graph. So this is also not symmetric with respect to the origin. Not symmetric about the y-axis or the origin. It means this is neither even nor odd function. Now, what can you say with our graph? Remember, this is just the graph of y equals square root of x. One important visual characteristic is that it started from the origin and that the graph increases, but the rate of increase becomes smaller. In other words, it rises but gradually flattens. So as x approaches 0 from the right, our y approaches positive infinity. Now let us transform our square root function. The transformation form of y equals square root of x is y equals a is square root of b times the quantity x minus h plus k, where the radicand b quantity x minus h should be greater than or equal to 0. Again, because if this is negative, the square root of negative number is imaginary. Also, our a and b must not be equal to 0. Because if they will become 0, this term will be canceled out. It will become y equals k only. Again, I'm going to use GeoGebra for the transformation. Once again, I have here different transformations for y equals x raised to 1 half. X raised to 1 half is equivalent to square root of x. So let's start with our mother function. Y is equal to the square root of x. We already know how to graph this one. Then what happened if I added negative 3 here? So this one, our endpoint moves 3 units down. Now, what if I added positive 2 instead? So our mother function, the endpoint, moved 2 units up. This is again our k. Let's go back to our mother function. Now, what if I change x here to quantity x minus 3? What will happen to our mother function? Take a look. The graph moved 3 units to the right. So the endpoint from 0, 0 is now at 3, 0. Now, what if I added positive 2? What will happen? The graph moved 2 units to the left. This is our h. Now, what happens if I put negative here in front of a square root of x? Let's see. Our graph reflect across the x-axis. Now, what happens if I put 2 here? When my a is greater than 1, positive 2, what will happen to the graph? It becomes steeper. So our graph is vertically stretched by a factor of 2. Now, what if I put 1/2 instead? Look what will happen, 1/2. So it becomes flatter. So our original function is vertically compressed by a factor of 1/2. Now, what if I change the value of b, the one inside the radical symbol, and I place 2? So this is a square root of 2x. What will happen to our mother function? Take a look. What happened? There have been horizontal compression. So the original key point 1, 1 is now 1/2 1. It was compressed. Now what if I place 1/2 instead of 2? So is square root of 1/2 x. What will happen? Now the graph is horizontally stretched. Our key point 1, 1 is now 2, 1. So from this point to this point, it means the graph was horizontally stretched. Let me add 2 other transformations, but first, I'll just remove our mother function. So what remains is s of x is equal to the square root of 2x, that is the orange graph, and t of x is equal to the square root of 1/2 x, that is the violet graph. Now, what will happen if I'll make this negative? So I'll put negative, this one. So our orange graph becomes the gray graph. It reflects along the y-axis. Now, let's see if that happens with 1/2 x. If I'll make this negative, this one. So the violet graph also reflects across the y-axis. So that is the effect of B when it is negative. Let us discuss further these transformations. Once again, I'm going to create a table. We have here parameter, transformation, and what to look for. We'll start with parameter K. And we have learned already that this is the vertical shift. It moves the graph up or down. Let's recall our graphs earlier. This is our mother function, the black one. Y is equal to square root of x. And when we added 2 here, our mother function moved 2 units up. But when I added minus 3, the mother function moved 3 units down. So once again, K controls the movement of the graph up and down. Our next parameter is the H, and this one is the horizontal shift. It moves the graph left or right. Let's recall our graphs earlier. Again, this is our mother function, the black one, y equals the square root of x. And when I change x with x minus 3, the graph moved 3 units to the right. But when I change x with x plus 2, the graph moved 2 units to the left. So again, H controls the movement of the graph left or right. Our next parameter is A. And A is the reflection over the x-axis. Let's recall our graph earlier. When I made this negative square root of x, so it means my A is -1. My original function reflect across the x-axis. A also dictates the vertical stretch or compression. Let's recall our graphs. The mother function is the black one, and when I put positive 2 here in front, it becomes y equals 2 is square root of x. It produces the red graph. So what happened there? There was a vertical stretch. The mother function is now more steeper. But when I put 1/2 in front of the square root of x, it produces the blue graph and the original graph becomes flatter. There was a vertical compression. So once again, A changes the vertical scale and orientation. Now we have an additional parameter which is B. And B is inside the radical. So it controls the horizontal transformation. B is the reflection about the line x is equal to h. And also, B tells us the horizontal stretch or compression. Now, how do we compute for that? Our horizontal scale factor is 1 over the absolute value of B. Here are the important things about B. I've already discussed important details about A earlier. So if the absolute value of B is greater than 1, we have a horizontal compression. Let us recall our graphs earlier. Again, our mother function y is equal to square root of x is the black one. And when I put 2 here is square root of 2x, it produces the orange graph. What happened there? Since our absolute value of b is 2 and that is greater than 1, then there was a horizontal compression by a factor of 1 over the absolute value of b. Let me discuss that briefly. I'm going to take one key point from our mother function and let us say that is 1, 1. The x-coordinate is 1 and the y-coordinate is 1. Since this is horizontal, I'm going to take the value of x-coordinate and that is 1. I'm going to multiply it with 1 over the absolute value of b. Since the value of b that I use is 2, so this will become 1 over the absolute value of 2, which is still 2, so 1/2. So the x-coordinate 1 times 1/2 is still 1/2. So my new x would be 1/2 and my y remains the same, which is 1. So from point 1, 1 in the original graph, it became 1/2 1. There have been horizontal compression. Now, what if the absolute value of b is less than 1 but greater than 0? There is horizontal stretch. Remember, I also substituted 1/2. It became y is equal to the square root of 1/2 x. And when I did that, it produces the violet graph. If the absolute value of b is less than 1 but greater than 0, there is a horizontal stretch by a factor of 1 over the absolute value of b. Once again, I'm going to use the key point 1, 1 from our mother function. So the x value is 1. This time, I'm going to multiply it with 1 over 1/2. Less than 1 but greater than 0. So 1 over 1/2 is 2. So multiplying the x-coordinate of the key point, which is 1 to 2, that will give me 2. So my new x now is 2 and my y remains at 1. So from the original 1, 1, it became 2, 1. There have been a horizontal stretch. So once again, B controls the horizontal scale and orientation. Now, what if B is less than 0? It means it's negative. Let's recall our graphs earlier. So again, this is the graph of the square root of 2x. And when I put negative, it became a square root of negative 2x. Since B is reflection about the line x equals h, then our graph reflect along x is equal to h. In this manner, our h is 0. So it reflects along the y-axis. Same thing happened when I made a square root of 1/2 x to square root of negative 1/2 x. it produced this graph. It reflects along x is equal to h. And if b is equal to 1, then there will be no horizontal scaling, compression, or stretch, and there will be no reflection. And the most important transformation is that our endpoint 0, 0 in the original function moves to hk. Let's apply the transformation rules. We're going to transform y is equal to square root of x to negative 2 is square root of negative quantity x plus 2 minus 3. Let's recall our transformation form. From here, we can easily identify that our a is equal to negative 2, our b is equal to negative 1, our h is equal to negative 2. Why? Remember that it should be x minus h. So we're going to transform this to x minus negative 2. H will be negative 2. And our k is equal to negative 3. Let's recall the graph of our mother function y is equal to square root of x. We have already learned how to graph this one. Now let us apply the transformation. Let's start with k, and k is negative 3. It means 3 units down. Our graph will move 3 units down. 1, 2, 3. So the endpoint will be at 0, negative 3. Next is our h. It is negative 2. It means the graph will move 2 units to the left. 2 units to the left, 1, 2. So the endpoint will be at negative 2, negative 3. And these two here will vertically stretch our graph by a factor of 2. Let's do that. So the graph becomes more steeper. It was vertically stretched. While this negative here will reflect our graph over x-axis. So this will reflect over here, and here is now our graph. And finally, the negative inside the radical symbol will reflect over x is equal to h. And here is our h, negative 2. So our graph will reflect on x equals negative 2. Let's do that. Now, here is our final graph. Let us determine the domain. Focus your eyes on the x-axis. There are no graph from negative 2 going to the right. The graph is started at negative 2 and to negative infinity. It means that our domain is the set of all x such that x is less than or equal to negative 2. Now for the range, focus your eyes on the y-axis. The graph is started at negative 3 going down. It means that our range is from negative 3 going to negative infinity. So y is less than or equal to negative 3. And finally, what happened to our endpoint? At the start, our endpoint is at 0, 0. Now it is at negative 2, negative 3, our HK. Now let us look at the third parent function.